The Wudang Mountains consist of a small mountain range in the northwestern part of Hubei, China. They are home to a famous complex of Taoist temples and monasteries associated with the god Shenwu. The Wudang Mountains are renowned for the practice of Tai Chi and Taoism as the Taoist counterpart to the Shaolin Monastery, which is affiliated with Chinese Chan Buddhism. This area is off the beaten path for China and can be difficult to explore. Here is what we would suggest for 3 days in the spiritual Wudang Taoist Mountains. Start off your first day with a visit to the Yushu Palace. The Yushu Palace is one of the largest palaces amongst the Wudang architectural complex. This palace was a base camp when building Wudang, so people usually call it the Old Camp Palace. After, you can head to the Wudang Museum to see national treasures. It has 7 exhibition halls with over 8,000 culture relics on display to educate you on Kung Fu, Taoism, and the local customs. Then you can go to the Yongle Shenshi Ancient Street to taste some local snacks before heading to the Tai Chi Theater to watch the martial arts show, Fantasy Wudang Show. Start off the second day by taking a shuttle bus to the Prince Slope. Prince Slope is the major hub for transfers on the mountain and also a must-see site. Legend has it that Zhenwu the Great, a high-ranking Taoist deity, lived and practiced Taoism here before his ascension to heaven. Zhenwu is also the main deity that is worshipped on Mount Wudang. Passing by the serpentine yellow river wall, you will see the Bhutan Palace Hall, the highlight of the buildings in Prince Slope. The statues in the hall are the biggest colored wooden statues on the mountain with 600 years of history. Continue the tour to the Renewing Pavilion. This is considered a miracle in China's architectural history. Being 500 years old, it was built on the cliff and only one single pillar is used to support the 12 wooden beams. Next, get back on the shuttle and continue on to Shalya Valley. A large amount of wild monkeys lives here. Here you can also watch the Wudang martial arts show. It consists of Tai Chi boxing, Tai Chi sword, imitation boxing, and 8 diagrams boxing. At noon, take the shuttle bus to the Zhixiao Palace, where you can enjoy a Taoist vegetarian lunch. After lunch, you can visit the palace and observe the praying ceremony. In the palace, there are statues of Zhenwu the Great, Tai Chi founder Zhang Sanfen, and a painting depicting a fight between a snake and a sparrow. After the Zhixiao Palace, head to the Prince Cave, where you may have the chance to meet the hermit who has been living in the cave for more than 10 years, never leaving Wudang Mountain. He feeds bees that he believes can understand human speech, and no one knows his real age. Get back on the shuttle bus to head to Crow Ridge to visit the South Cliff Palace. This palace was built by the cliff and seems to hang in the air. There's also the Dragon Head incense, also called the number 1 incense, that is a stone carving embedded in the cliff. If you dare, you can try and pay your respects by lighting an incense here to earn good deeds. You can't visit Wudang without learning some martial arts. So in the morning, get up early and learn some Tai Chi with a Tai Chi master. Tai Chi is the essence of Chinese culture and also for good health. After, you can hike to the Golden Palace. On the way, you will pass by the Labneh Temple, which is the best preserved and largest temple on the mountain. You also pass by the Yellow Dragon Cave, which is a natural cave where Taoist priests practice. It's also highly related with Taoist medicine and the Bhutan Temple, which is believed to be the heaven territory and the boundary of heaven and earth. After you visit the Bhutan Temple, you can choose between a few hikes. The Qingshen Path, which is quite easy, or the Mingshen Path, which is hard, to get to the Golden Peak. Built on the summit, you'll find the Golden Palace is one of the earliest bronze structures in China. After that, you can visit the Bhutan Palace, which is the earliest bronze building in China. Built in the 14th century and moved to the present location to Tianzu Peak, which is the highest peak of Wudang Mountain. You can go downstairs to Taihe Palace, which was originally built during the Ming Dynasty and enlarged afterwards. It is encircled by a wall, and the part outside the wall is called the Taihe Palace, and the part inside the wall is called the Zijing City. Next, take the cable car down to the Chongtai Middle Temple. Taoists think Chongtai is the place where Zhenwu the Great was translated and conferred, thus is considered as a sacred place. It used to have 3 parts, the upper, middle, and lower, and was one of the biggest temples on Mount Wudang. But now only the middle temple remains. There are often some Taoist doctors sitting inside, and you may pay a visit and ask them questions about your health if you wish. Finally, take the bus back to Prince Slope and head to the Grinding Well. This place tells the story of Zhenwu the Great, then crown prince of the ancient Jingo Kingdom. He came to Mount Wudang to practice Taoism and seek immortality. After many years of hard practice and isolation, he felt so tired and hopeless that he wanted to give up and go back to his kingdom. Then he met an old lady who was trying very hard to grind an iron rod against a rock. He asked what she was doing. The old lady replied that she wanted to make a needle. Of course, the crown prince was surprised that someone would try to turn a thick iron stick into a tiny needle. The old lady then told him that as long as she kept on doing it, eventually it would turn into a needle. The prince suddenly realized that the old lady was teaching him a lesson that perseverance leads to success. He was ashamed of having the thought of giving up and turned back and practiced very hard. Finally, he ascended to heaven. Inside the building, there is a mural on the wall that illustrates the story. Want to visit the Wudang Taoist Mountains? Click the link below, or customize your own tour to China. Want to see more great videos about China? Hit the subscribe button below and follow us on our other social media.